It was so humbling to realize that I had been the roadblock. My need for control, my need to have my fingers in everything, unintentionally kept them from stepping up into their full potential. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Reflect Forward. I'm your host, Kerry Siggins, and I'm so glad you are here today. If you need to control everything, you'll end up controlling nothing. When I first became a CEO, I believed that control equaled competence. I would oversee every single decision, every project, every person. And when we did that, we succeeded. It just continued to reinforce that if I control things, then I can manage outcomes and I can create success. But what I realized over the years is that control doesn't develop people. Control doesn't create confidence. In fact, it kills it. Control stifles creativity, ownership, and trust, all the things that I believe in so much. And the more that I tried to manage every outcome, the less effective I became. That's what I want to talk about in today's episode. The moment that I realized that my need for control was holding back my team and it was holding me back, and how learning how to trust changed everything, and why you too should learn how to relinquish control even when it feels a little bit scary. So, let's talk about the illusion of control. So, I have a very, oh gosh, I don't know, specific way that I believe things should be written. I am a writer. I love good content. I value writing. I value great marketing. And every single thing that came out of Stone Age, I wanted to review to make sure that it had the right brand voice, the right tone, that it was using proper grammar, that it was really compelling. And so I literally reviewed everything. Anything that went out, I looked at it. I wanted to weigh in on every single decision that we made around marketing. And I told myself that it was about maintaining high standards, but really underneath it all was fear. It was fear of being judged. It was fear of things going wrong. It was fear of things not landing right and it being a reflection on the company and on me. So I wanted to look at everything. And what I realized is that I was holding myself back. I was holding the company back. I was holding my team back. I was confusing involvement with leadership. And so many leaders do this, especially high achievers. We want to control things. Interestingly enough, according to Harvard Business School, leaders who operate in this high control environment experience 40% more stress and 30% lower team autonomy than those who lead with trust. And I absolutely felt this. I was burning out. My need to read everything that left the company was causing me stress. And then when I didn't review something and it would go out and I didn't like it, then I would get upset. And so it was this constant cycle. And my marketing team certainly didn't feel like they had autonomy. And they certainly just let me do it because why not? If she's going to make sure that all of the content is great, we're going to let her. So that autonomy just wasn't there. And I began to realize that this is not effective, especially as we scale. I literally cannot read every single thing that leaves this company. So I started to question my need for control in this space. And I looked at it through the lens of self awareness. And I love this quote from Daniel Goleman, who wrote the book Emotional Intelligence. And he says self awareness is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. Without it, we can't manage ourselves or lead others effectively. So as I'm realizing I have to let this stuff go, I started asking myself, what am I afraid of? What's going to happen if it's not perfect? Really, is the world going to end? Even more importantly, what might happen if I don't? And that was the real kicker. I realized that I was not helping my marketing team develop the way that they needed to be developed when I was managing everything and ensuring that everything was perfect before it went out. So here is the moment that really changed everything. It was in the pandemic, and the pandemic was such a wake up call for me. Overnight, everything changed for all of us. We all went home. I was now working from my home office instead of being in the office where I was every single day with people walking in and out of my office, with me being the face of the company with every single department. My door was open. I could walk over to anybody in the company and help them, including my marketing team, my marketing director at the time. And all of a sudden that was gone. Now I'm sitting at home. People just couldn't walk into my office. They couldn't get a quick answer. They couldn't bounce an idea off of me. They had to go to their manager instead or their executive team leader instead. And at first, this was really disconcerting to me. I felt a little bit untethered, a little bit disconnected, saying, if I'm not the go to person, if I'm not the glue that's holding this all together, then what value do I bring? But something really incredible happened. I watched my team flourish. They were making smart decisions. They were solving problems. They were collaborating. They were stepping up in ways that I had never seen before. And it was all because I wasn't there doing their jobs for them, because that's effectively what I was doing. It was so humbling to realize that I had been the roadblock. My need for control, my need to have my fingers in everything, unintentionally kept them from stepping up into their full potential. This was such a strong realization. It hit me in that moment. Control does not build leaders, trust does. This quote from Stephen Covey just puts a bow on it. And he says, control leads to compliance, trust leads to commitment. And that's definitely what I experienced. When I sat down and asked myself what I really wanted, I didn't want compliance. I wanted ownership. I wrote a book called The Ownership Mindset. All of this realization, though, really happened before I wrote The Ownership Mindset. And this was part of the precipice for me writing the book. And the reality is that ownership only happens when people are trusted and they are developed to think and act like leaders themselves, not to have their leader do their job for them. So that is when I said, that's it. I'm out. I'm going to not be the face of the company. I'm going to have an open door, but it's not about people just walking in to get a quick answer from me or to ask my opinion on something or to have me read a piece of content before it goes out into the digital world. It was really about helping grow my team and trusting them, because I did trust them, but trusting them to do their jobs effectively without me being involved so much. So let's talk about what trust actually looks like in practice. Trust is not passive. It is an active process of equipping people to lead themselves. And the way I see it, there's three dimensions of trust. One, it starts with competence. You have to believe in your team's capabilities. This means believing that people can figure things out, even if they do it differently than you would. They're highly capable people. They don't need me. They have competence. Two, it's about character, believing in their integrity. When you believe in your team's integrity, it's you knowing that they'll do what's right, even when you're not watching. I absolutely believe that my team has integrity. If the mistake is made, it's never on purpose, and that's how they learn and grow anyway. And I totally trust my team to make the right decision. So then why am I coming in and making the decision for them? I am not showing them that I believe in their integrity and in their character. So I had to stop doing that. And then number three, connection. You have to show them that they matter. This is something that I've always been strong at. But I also realize that even though I have a deep connection where I make my people feel seen and valued and supportive, by me being involved with everything, they couldn't really rise to their potential, not like they did when I said, I'm not going to be involved in every little thing. And that connection showed them that they mattered. It showed them that I believed in them and that I valued and I saw them and I supported them in their growth. So, those are the three dimensions of trust: competence, believing in their capability; character, believing in their integrity; and connection, showing them that they matter. And when you focus on building these three dimensions of trust, it makes it so much easier to delegate and it makes it easier for your team to step up. And I see this every day. We are all employee owners at Stone Age, and ownership and control just cannot coexist. And when I stepped back there at the beginning of COVID, even though this was not an intentional thing and it was uncomfortable for me, I realized that I empowered my leaders and I helped them grow into the decision makers that our company needed. They didn't need me to make every decision. They just needed to know that I trusted them and that I had their back if a mistake was made. Because let's face it, we're not going to always make the right decisions, or we're going to make good decisions and not get the outcomes that we expected, which doesn't mean it was a bad decision. It just means it didn't work the way that we thought it was going to work. And as I did that through coaching, through asking better questions, by creating space for them to think critically, by instead of giving my opinion, saying, I don't know, what do you think? The company became stronger than ever. And we didn't just bounce back after COVID, we bounced forward. It was amazing to see. Like Sheryl Sandberg so eloquently said, leadership is about making others better as a result of your presence and making sure that impact lasts in your absence. That is what relinquishing control is all about. There is so much freedom on the other side of trust. When I stopped trying to control everything, I found something I didn't expect: freedom. And if you're like me, you want freedom too. I think we all do. I had space to dream, to innovate, to lead with vision. It made the company stronger. I could also pursue my passion of speaking and writing about employee ownership and building this platform to show the value of what building a culture like Stone Age can bring to communities, to the business world, to employees, to customers. It was so incredibly rewarding. And my team found their freedom too. They didn't have to wait for me anymore. They trusted themselves. And this is what trust does. It multiplies leadership. It shifts the focus from me to we. Before I jump into the ways that you can relinquish some control, let me share this statistics with you because I think this is really powerful. Paul Zach's Harvard Business Review article titled The Neuroscience of Trust. Employees in high trust companies report 74% less stress, 106% more energy, and 50% higher productivity than low trust organizations. So, what does that mean? Trust isn't soft, it's smart. It is the foundation of ownership and performance. So, ask yourself this question: what would happen if I developed people to think for themselves and then trusted them to do it? It would be so amazing. Now let's dive into how you actually put this into practice. First, identify one area where you tend to hold on too tightly. My suggestion is that you pick something that is relatively low stakes. So for me, it was marketing. Like, is somebody going to die if a marketing content out and it's not that great? No, no one's going to die. So that was a great place for me to get started. You pick your place. Next, choose one person you can empower in that area. So for me, it was my director of marketing. And say something like this: you know what? I trust you to take the lead on this. I have had my fingers in this for far too long, and I want to play a support role instead. So I'll support you as needed, but I really want you to own it. Help them, right? This might be new, especially if you were controlling things so tightly before. Ask them questions. Help them build their critical thinking. Say, what options are you considering? What are your opinions here? What are the trade-offs to these decisions? What would you do if I weren't here to bounce these ideas off of me? Get them thinking, get them trusting themselves. And when you want to course correct, make sure that it is still in the context of them making the decision. Say something like this instead: I really like that. Here's a couple of other things for you to consider as you're making your decision. That is coaching, that is guiding, that is not doing their thinking for them. And then finally, reflect together afterwards. What worked? What did we both learn through this process? This will really help reinforce the fact that you are there to support them, but you are letting them own it. And then be self-reflective. Ask yourself, what came up for me when I released control? Did I have discomfort? Did I have pride? Did I have relief? That is growth. Being able to identify how you feel is really important, because then you can start to analyze, okay, where did this discomfort come from? Oh, wow, I felt really proud of them. How can I do that more often? This is an important step. So here are the key takeaways for you to consider. 1, control is rooted in fear. Trust is rooted in strength. So what are you doing? Are you building from fear or are you building from strength? Trust is about saying, I trust you to do this. I believe in you. I believe in your capability. I believe in your integrity. That is how you build people up. That is how you strengthen yourself and your team. Number 2, you cannot create ownership if you won't give up control. I believe that the ownership mindset is the ultimate culture you can have. When people think and act like owners, oh my gosh, so many amazing things can happen. You cannot create that sense of ownership if you won't give up control. If you're going to do all the thinking for your employees, guess what? They are going to let you. Or they're going to be really frustrated that you're doing that and leave. If you want a culture of ownership, give up control. Number 3, trust is not about stepping away. It's about stepping into your role as a developer of people. And that is what we are here to do as leaders. We are not here to make every decision. We're not here to orchestrate every outcome. We're not here to drive perfection. We are here to develop people and help them reach their full potential. So it's not about stepping away and it's not about controlling. It is about walking alongside your team, helping them be the high performers that they want to be. Number 4, when you help others become better thinkers, decision makers, and leaders, you strengthen trust on both sides. So it's really important. It's not just about you trusting them, but it's about them trusting you. And they want to work for a manager who believes in them, who is helping them grow as an employee and as a person. So it has this really circular effect, and it's so incredibly powerful. And finally, number 5, letting go does not mean that you are losing influence. It means that you are multiplying it. Start small this week. Develop someone's confidence and then trust them to lead. When people on your team are high performers, you will be a high performer. And that is how you have more influence And that is how you are a better leader. In closing, this shift from control to trust changed everything for me. It changed how I lead. It changed how I think. It changed how I show up as a leader. When you choose to trust your people and help them trust themselves, you're not giving up power. You're amplifying it, because leader is not about doing everything yourself. It's about creating more leaders. It's about helping people be better self leaders. So loosen your grip, develop your people, trust the process, and watch your team grow and perform, and watch yourself grow and perform. I promise you, it is such a better way to lead. With that, I will leave you to your day. Thank you so much. If you liked this episode and you think someone could benefit from maybe giving up a little bit of control and trusting a little bit more, please feel free to share it with them. And if you like this podcast, please share it with a friend, subscribe to it on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. Leave me a comment or write me a review. I so appreciate it, and it helps with the algorithms and gets these podcasts out to the rest of the world. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.